All right, this is part 7. At this point, Manny Dog has identified 4 of his accomplices, which I believe is a guy named Barry Broughton, TJ, Smiley, and Les. Right? So, if you're not up to date with the story, Supreme met with Manny Dog, asked him, yo, can you get busy for me? Get some work done for me. Meaning, I need some people killed and dealt with. It was 3 people. It was 4 people he wanted killed. And they was paying $25,000 a hit. They wanted E-Money Bags, Big Nose Troy, Homicide, and Green Eye Born off the planet Earth. From what I know, 3 of those people are off the planet Earth, and Green Eye Born is still out here enjoying life. Barely. I'm pretty sure it was only by the grace. So, we will continue. Do me a favor, hit the like button right now. Do me a favor, hit the hype button. And I'll keep these videos coming, all right?
All right, let's continue with the questioning. Mr. Mosley, just one thing I'd just like to follow up with. In your 1987 arrest, when you were arrested for the guns in the back of the livery cab, do you recall that you were interviewed at that time for what's called a pre-sentence report in the state? In what year? In 1987. Oh, 1987. You said I was interviewed for probation? Before sentencing in that case by the state authorities? No. Okay. I'd like to just show you what I'll deem marked as 3500-EM-6. I'm going to show that just to the witness. Is it on your screen? It's not on mine. Mr. Mosley, is that on your screen? It didn't come up on mine. Yes. Okay, so I'm just going to point down here. During that interview, do you recall telling the authorities that you just pled guilty to get the case over with and that you didn't do it? Yeah, I didn't get caught with the firearms. Okay, but you actually knew that the guns were there, correct? There were 2 individuals in the car with me. I knew they had guns on them. I watched them put them under the seat of the cab. Okay, and so you legally possess those guns, correct? Yes. Alright, so let's go back. I'm just going to show you for identification Government's Exhibit 30. Do you recognize that person? How about? Okay, I move Exhibit 30 into evidence. Alright, no objection in evidence. And who is how about? That's the guy that used to drive us around Queens when we was looking for the guys. Okay, so this was someone who was affiliated with who? Supreme McGriff. And had you known him before you agreed to commit these murders for Supreme? No. And
they really, in my opinion, they really, this is a lot of effort and work to put into a person over a disagreement about some $1,000. So I don't even know if that part is true. I got that part from the documentary that the Supreme Team recently put out. However, I don't know how it seems to you guys, but to me it seems just a little bit I don't know if I could just buy the whole story that this was about a car, but just say what? It doesn't make sense. You put $100,000 out, which means you knew these guys meant business. I don't even know why you would play around. Well, maybe you didn't until you started busting his gun off, and then you got the picture. But then also, Black just did die, so maybe this is it. And I don't think Supreme wanted to blame itself, right, as much as he blamed the person who shot him in the first place. But I still agree that, you could have took him to the hospital and he could have still been alive, right? People still questioning why you did it the way you did it.
Did this is the person that showed you around Queens when you were looking for the victims, is that right? Yes. Excuse me, what number is that again? Exhibit 30, Your Honor. Just 30. Okay, in evidence. So let me go back then to the people that you recruited to murder. Now, did you have an order for what victim was going to be killed? Big Nose Troy and E Moneybags. And did McGriff tell you why it was that those people had to be murdered first? Yeah, he told me that E Moneybags was trying to extort Irv Gotti and that Big Nose Troy was like partners with him. Okay, and for that job you said that you recruited Tripp, is that correct? Yes. And so in evidence, Exhibit 28, that's Tripp, correct? Yes. Okay, and you said you had known Tripp going back even as far as Pennsylvania, right? Yes. All right. Government's Exhibit 27, which is in evidence. Alvin Smiley. And how did you happen to recruit him for this hit team? I recruited him through Les. And how was it that Les knew this person? From the Polo Grounds. We all live in the same neighborhood. Okay, and was there anything... Did he say Polo Grounds? Sorry, is that what you said? The Polo Grounds? Yeah, from the Polo Grounds. Was that near your neighborhood, the Polo Grounds?
Sorry, y'all. I just want to stop. That's 11:25. Hold on. 11:25, 10:50. Which is Alvin. Okay. I wanted to. So that's Tripp. And you said you had known Tripp going back even far as Pennsylvania. Yeah, we know that. Okay. Yes. All right. Government. Alvin Smiley and all right. So Les brought in Alvin Smiley. That's what I was trying to figure out. My bad. Let's get back to it.
What caused you to recruit TJ?
Hold on. Let's go back. My bad.
And okay, and was there anything... Did he say Polo Grounds? Sorry, is that what you said? The Polo Grounds? Yeah, from the Polo Grounds. Was that near your neighborhood, the Polo Grounds? Yeah, about 6 blocks difference. And what, if anything, did you learn from Les about Alvin Smiley that made Alvin a candidate in your mind to do this? He told me that Alvin had shot somebody or shot at someone with a shotgun. And you also said that you recruited someone named TJ? Yes. What caused you to recruit TJ? That was through Les as well. That was his friend. Okay, and did you learn anything about TJ, or what was that? Why was it that you hired him? Les just told me that he would be down. Okay, and by be down, what do you mean by that? To roll with the hit team. So, just so the jury's clear, 57 in evidence is who? TJ. Okay, and 31 in evidence? Les. And by the way, 26, which I think is already in evidence, if not, that's me. Okay, so if it's not, I would just move it into evidence. Exhibit 26 is in evidence now. Was there anybody else that you hired for this? For this particular job? Yeah. eBay.
Damn. This is a whole debacle. It's an entire debacle, right? And let's just take the street code. And this is why I don't really like the street code. And you guys can agree with me or don't agree with me. Irv Gotti was a businessman. Yet, he wanted to give off this impression that he was a street nigga. Hence why he named his company Murder Inc., right? Now, they'll tell you other things like, yo, they probably wanted to murder the music and all these other symbologies, but really they wanted to be associated with gangsters. And when it came to it, they wasn't with none of the gangster shit. So here you have some niggas that really dedicate their life to the gangsterism, right? E Money Bags and Big Nose Troy. So if it's true that they run around attempting to extort these businessmen, why didn't you get the authorities involved? Now, because our brains are so entrained to think, oh, here you go talking that sucker shit, look at all the chaos that this caused. Right? Instead of, if you would have got the authorities involved and say, yo, there's two people trying to extort me, and we're not doing that, and I will press charges to the full out extent. All the thing they can say is, yo, Irv's a rat, bro. I tried to extort him and he told the authorities. Psst, sucker. He ain't a real nigga. A real nigga would have put it all on the line and got his life thrown away and got imprisonment. Yeah. That's what a real nigga would have did. But y'all don't see the logic in what I'm saying, right? Y'all so brainwashed that y'all gonna keep spitting that real nigga shit until it's your turn. Kenneth McGriff is sitting in jail for being a real nigga. For somebody else. For somebody else that was out here. This is why I said I didn't like Irv when he was alive. It was always the fronting and the mean mugging, and he's laced up with drugs. He's talking crazy about women. What we need that type of representation for? And it turns out you not even like that. But you would have got us like that. And you I don't care if you say you love him in interviews. You can't, because you're putting his life on the line. When truly and really you could have found a position for this nigga somewhere and talked him into, like, yo, we gotta get you something to do legally, bro. It ain't gonna be the same type of money, but we got to get you something to do legally. Did all of this, and niggas is in there pointing people out, dropping names, Jack. It's crazy.
All right. Well, didn't you hire eBay to do Troy? Yeah, but that was later on. Initially, the guys that you just put on the screen, those are the guys that I hired initially. Okay, so there were 2 murders, right? Yes. The first one was E Moneybags, correct? Yes. And the second one was Troy, correct? Yes. And you didn't hire eBay for the first one, right? No. He didn't participate in that, right? Not at all. All right. So once you had recruited these people, you said that you spent time looking for the victims. Is that right? Yes. Okay. How did you go about doing that? Well, first of all, how did you go about knowing who you were going to kill? Because how about knew all these guys, all the individuals involved, so he would be our eyes? Did you have a photograph of any of those people? Yeah, we had a blurry photograph of E Moneybags. Okay, and can you describe, did you go to this house while you were looking for E Moneybags? Yes. Can you describe what was in the house? We actually went to the basement. We never really explored the whole house. We went in the house and went straight down to the basement, which consisted of just lots of videotapes and TV and a couch. And that's where we had the guns at. That's where the guns that Supreme gave us to actually do the job was, inside the house, in the basement. Can you describe how you knew the guns were there and what guns you and your team had access to? He gave us the guns. He gave me the guns, actually. Me and him talked about, firearms. I told him we would need him to provide them for us. So he took me there personally by myself first and gave me a bag. It was in a black duffel bag. Was this different from the day that Supreme first showed you the house? Yes. So you went out to Queens again and met with Supreme? Yes. What else do you remember about that meeting? That was the meeting when he kept explaining to me how many guys it was and, how fast he needed it done. Okay, how did he pass the guns to you? They was already in the basement, so when I went there, he just pulled out the bag and showed them to me. How many guns were in the bag, do you remember? It was a few guns, maybe about 8 to 10. Okay, do you remember anything about the guns? There was a bulletproof vest, one that was made of a t-shirt, and there was a couple of 9mm, AR-15, and just a bunch of handguns. Okay, for somebody who's not familiar with guns, what does an AR-15 look like? It's a machine gun. Can you explain what happened when you started looking for either E-money bags or Big Nose Troy? We would just ride around to various places. We'd even ride around at nighttime, go to different clubs, see if How About would be able to spot any of them. And what did you do at the end of a night looking for the victims? We returned back to the house and I'd go home and I'd leave the guys there. Did the people that you had hired, where did they stay at night? They stayed in the house. Alright, and did you see Supreme McGriff during this time? Yeah, I seen him periodically. He was going back and forth out of town. Now, when you would look for the victims, were you all in the same car, your whole team? Yeah, we had 2 different vehicles that we used that he provided for us. Can you explain that? What part? Just explain, did you have a pattern of who would ride in what car and how you would ride around? We didn't have a real pattern. It wasn't set up that way. Okay. We just periodically get in cars and just go. But How About would do a lot. He would do all the driving pretty much, so he could show us around Queens. How about Supreme McGriff? Was he ever present when you were looking for the victims? Yes, on several different occasions, but it would just be me and him. Okay, can you explain that further? You and him would meet up? Yeah, me and him would meet up, separate from the guys. The guys never really met Supreme. I'd keep that separate. Was there a reason that caused you to keep them separate? Yes, I didn't really want them to know who we was doing the job for. Why is that? Because of the coming to jail and any of those guys end up sitting where I'm sitting. When you rode with Supreme to look around, was the hit team nearby or was it just the 2 of you looking, you and Supreme? They'd be nearby. Would they be in a separate car? Yeah, with How About. While you were looking, did you carry a firearm with you? Sometimes. How about Supreme? Did he have a firearm? Yes. How do you know? He showed it to me. Alright. When you were in the car with your hit team, did they have guns with them? Yes. Where did they carry the guns? We had a stash inside the car on the side of the car. What do you mean by a stash spot? There was a panel in the door that would open up. If you turn the dial of the radio and turn on the air conditioner, it would open up. So would that be something that you wouldn't see unless you knew it was there? Absolutely.
Yep. All right. This is part 7. We're moving on to part 8. Do hit the like button. Do subscribe to the channel. Do hit the hype button if you haven't wasted all your hypes for this week. You understand? See you guys soon.